Someone asked me this question, so I figured you could help me answer.
Yeah, what's
having lived both between America and and Canada, we've lived between both. What are some of the big differences that you feel living between here and across the board?
When you go down south in the States, it's a bit like...
Let's stop. We're going to just start at the first stop. When you go from your country of Canada to the country of America, what's the difference? First off, which country of America? Because America is like 40 different countries all jump up to one. My experience in Texas is not my experience in Florida. It's not my experience in the DMV. It's not my experience in California. And it's not my experience in New York. I'm just speaking generalities. Some of the big differences, it's just so much safer, period.
Where?
Like, you can live in a major city in Canada and not have to lock your door in a lot of neighborhoods.
You could.
Sometimes I forget to lock. It's not something I really worry about.
You could.
There's a couple break-ins here and there, but it's not that dangerous.
We're not saying that there's no breakings and there's not danger. I know there's some Canadians gonna be like, yo, the six?
Even the
six? Where people, yes, there's people that are shooting. It's getting crazy in the six, Toronto, for those who don't know. But the worst parts of Canada
are the best parts of America. I feel like that's a John Legend song. The worst of me is the best of them. I don't know. You said it, and it sounded like John Legend. That's what we want. But all this to say, like, safety is just different.
Safety is different.
Yeah, like there's a certain awareness that I have when I'm visiting certain places or when I was living in Los Angeles, in some parts that I was staying at. Which is different than here. When I go to Brazil, it feels different. You know it right away. And so safety. You guys look at the numbers too. Like, it's just a completely different ballgame.
But there are a whole lot more people. So I can understand that, like, the safety is a bit different. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot more people. It's more compact. It's more...
It's not, though. It's actually not.
Oh, yeah, in big cities.
It's not more compact.
It's not.
It's actually not more compact. One thing you'll notice about, like, living in the States, too, is there are just huge city sprawls. Everything is spread out. That's actually one of the big problems. Other than New York, like, you go to Florida, bitch, if you ain't got a car, you're not going nowhere.
Florida is crazy.
I lived out in Van Nuys for some time. Okay, this is like northern part of Los Angeles, right? I had homies who were staying on Hawthorne or in Long Beach, like. And that's a whole trip.
And you didn't call them homies.
We not seeing each other unless Thanksgiving.
We're not homies. We're pen pals.
Yeah. Send me a letter.
Send me a letter. It will be easy. Yeah,
that's another problem. Like, one thing I like, at least my experience here in Montreal and even Vancouver, I could probably say this, is like things are a lot more compact and the city planning is much more efficient, so it allows for good public transport, which is another big deal. Public transport in most Canadian cities, not all, but most, is far more efficient than what I've seen from most American cities. That's part of it's just city planning. It's just everything's so spread out. Everything is like sectioned off into neighborhoods. So you live in your hood, you really live in your hood. You know what I'm saying? There's people who live in the same city who have never crossed over to the other side.
We have hoods. They have woods. Like, it's so far apart. It's like you're gonna, okay, mommy, I'm gonna off to see my friend. I'm going on a journey. Oh shit, I forgot the ring. Yeah, because I got to bring the ring to Mordor on the way to Brooklyn. even the people that live in there's so many people that say that they live in LA, and I'm like, where? When I first went to LA, I'm like, yeah, oh shit, I'm gonna talk to my fans. I'm like, yeah, I'm in LA, and motherfuckers like, oh yeah, I'm right there. Where you at? I'm like, you're not right there. That's not even LA. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I'll say another thing that's so we talked about the public transport. Another thing that's very, very different, cost of living. Like, yes, we have our issues here with cost of living and it's growing to some degree. But it's not like major cities in the States.
No.
You guys, the cost of living is crazy high. Be it produce, be it food, be it rent. Like, I would tell people what I would get for rent, and my American friends like, shut the fuck up. They would get mad hearing what my rent price, because I know what they were. I remember my rent prices when I was living out in Los Angeles, and it's still not comparable to what I have here in Montreal with inflation. With all the, because I lived there, what was it? This mostly maybe 9 years ago now. Back then, it was still substantially more expensive than what it is today here in Canada for me, with all the rent hikes that have been happening over time. So you can imagine the cost of living is completely different. And people don't really take that in, but when your rent is really high, You don't have time to go do other stuff because you're working extra shifts to be able to make your bills. You don't have a disposable income to be able to launch your products or launch your ideas or your businesses because you got to work extra shifts to pay your bills or pay any debt you've accrued from school. So having that kind of financial flexibility living up here allowed me to be much more creative and actually start this YouTube channel. So those are some of the things that kind of helped out. That's one of the big differences I noticed in terms of cost of living. Now, of course, some of you watching be like, well, in rural, look, listen, we're not talking about rural parts. We're talking about most of the major cities that people want to live in. And so the experience in Dallas, Texas is not going to be the same thing as fucking
Mobile, Alabama.
Or, Columbus, Ohio. Sorry, Columbus, Ohio sounds cool on paper. Nobody wants to visit. So I'm just saying these are the things between the major cities that I know is difference.
There's one thing.
Go ahead.
Whenever I visit the States, I have a hard time eating. The food is I have a hard time eating because to find food is fine if you want junk.
Yeah.
But if I want good food, like I don't want every meal to have cheese. You know what I mean? Slack on the cheese, on the bacon, on the double size, triple size motherfuckers, on the beef.
My blood pressure went up. Just
that's what I'm saying, bruh. Yeah. It's really that's.
Though I will say in your defense, when we talk about blood pressure, Chick-fil-A is worth it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna have Chick-fil-A every day.
I mean,
yeah, you're waffle fries.
Chick-fil-A is worth it. Waffle fries. So, for free.
Yeah, but you don't know the real spots. Here, I don't have to know the real spots. You don't have to know the real spot. There's gonna be food. Like food deserts, you don't really have that out here.
True.
You have plenty of that in the States. You could go, I could drive for blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks, and there's nothing but fast food. Like here, I could find a little something.
True.
Even in rural spots, I could find a little spot, a little something.
Fucking Denny's everywhere in this bitch.
Yeah, over there.
They got IHOPs and Denny's everywhere.
Yeah.
They love their chains and Walmarts. Walmart's pretty much own the small cities.
Super center.
Which is fucking wild in itself. The good.
You could do a lot of opportunities there to make money.
Yes, financially, opportunities in terms of financial mobility in America is very, very high because there's so much money and so much capital. If you got good products or good business ideas and there's such a huge amount of people that you can sell stuff to, amazing place to start up businesses. I will say, having left Ethiopia and moved to Canada, I think the South of America is the only time I felt Southern hospitality, that kind of warm feeling that you get from people around you. Now, this is not everywhere in the South, but when I was in New Orleans, which is still my favorite city in the States, I loved the way people talked to each other when I was staying there for a few months. So my experience was really pleasant. I think I like American people. I know everybody be like, these I personally, when I go down there, I enjoy my time around America. Oh, you know what? This one's so underrated. It is one of the greatest privileges that we have living in this country.
What happened?
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
You're not ready for this one.
No, I'm not.
None of y'all ready for this. I'm going to say this, and you're like, what the fuck? Yo, one thing that America doesn't do well that we do amazing up here, you ready? Tap water. That's a game changer.
That's a fact.
Yo.
My
American homies come up here, and I give them a glass. He's like, yo, this shit's delicious. What about tap?
That's tap.
Tap.
Yeah.
You hear that?
No. You got a point.
Okay.
1 2 1 2.
Okay.
That tap water is nice.
Delicious. And I don't, like, if you don't have a Brita filter or whatever it is, like, I remember staying in some Airbnbs, and I'm, like, getting thirsty all the time, and the tap water over there is radioactive, turn you to a superpower or some shit. So I'm like, I can't touch it. I can't drink it. But I come back up here, and I get me a glass, and I go, exploiting the natives was worth it.
But then again,
and so I'm always grateful every time I drink that tap water.
It's just crazy that you bathe in that water, but you can't drink it. You know what I mean?
Airlines. I like flying. You can't fly in this fucking country.
Here?
Everything is so stupid expensive.
Yes.
And the States, if you want to fly within the country, there's some amazing flights, and there's so much competition due to capitalism and the fact that they have a good market that you have so many competing airlines lowering the prices of fares. So flying to travel from the States is very accessible.
So right now I'm going to Florida.
Yeah.
But I got my boy Mike that he's in a different place in Florida. I might just take a flight.
Yeah.
For a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it.
It's worth it. And it's cheap.
It's cheap. It's like the flying thing That's a big thing.
It costs me less to go to fly to Europe than it does to fly to Toronto or fly to fucking Vancouver. You get what I'm trying to say? That's how crazy our flights are. I'll say this. If you like doing anything, you can find anything and everything in America.
Yep.
I feel like when you come here to the north, like, yeah, there's a lot to do, but not anywhere near as much stuff to do as there are in the States. So in terms of leisure activities, niche stuff, you can find everything over there, whereas here it's a lot more limited in that sense. So that's definitely a thing.
If we talk about the East Coast, I have one thing negative to say about the States. All right, sorry.
Go ahead, yeah.
The girls.
What's wrong with the late women?
Your girls don't look that good, man.
What you talking about?
In the States?
You shitting on the American women?
In peep game. In Montreal got the girls. If you go to New York,
you don't like New York women?
They're a bit rough. And the one that are nice, they speak to you like they man. Yo, what's up, son?
That's cap.
What's up, son?
That's cap for me.
That's cap for you.
I think American women look great.
Not the East. And then when we talk about if you talk about Florida, it's either they're not from there or they're really done up and stuff. But yeah, like, y'all rough.
That wasn't my experience, but that's Preacher's experience. So that's what it is. Hey, listen, you about to get.
Let me know your DM if you're not part of the rough ones. And you better have an unlocked Instagram profile,
right.
so I could testify.
Another one. Our politics are super boring. That's one thing America does better. America does politics way better than we do.
Yo, Andrew Schultz said some shit.
I mean, you watch Parliament over here.
He was talking about Bernie Sanders, and he was like Bernie ain't got merch. Because he was talking about Trump.
Hey, listen.
Trump got merch. We don't got. Trudeau ain't got merch. All you motherfuckers are not from Canada like Trudeau because you don't live here.
We elected our first brown guy to be the leader of one of the parties, and this nigga, the moment he became elected, forgot how to make curry. Bruv, I don't know what happens with our politics. They're so boring. They remove any flavor out of any individual.
They're boring as fuck.
So I will say that's another L for Canada. A third L for Canada that America doesn't have to deal with. Well, actually, we kind of export it to you guys. Drake. He's from here, but he lives in your country now. So I think that's an L we got to share. America made him popular.
You know what? I don't really mind Drake.
Drizzy?
Drake? The one that wanted to hide the baby from the world, but the world would hide from the baby. That's one of the best skit ever.
Tell me what's really going on.
That's me. That was great. That's Drake. I don't mind Drake. Drizzy Drake.
Kiss me through the phone. Stealing that.
I don't mind. I don't mind him. I don't mind that guy.
He is the main.
He does
Degrassi.
Arby Graham in a wheelchair. Drake.
Yes.
The nigga that got bodied by Pusha T?
He said that.
The nigga that want to hide his kid from the world, but the world don't want to hide from his kids?
That was great. Drake! Yo, shout out Soulja Boy.
That's a moment.
You made that moment really good.
So those are some of the things. So if you guys are wondering about moving to Canada, we try to list some pros and cons. I just did off the top of my head. I didn't even think about this stuff. There's probably more. But yeah, those are some of the little things, I think. Yeah. If you guys like this breakdown or if you guys want to get any corrections, go down. But I think everything we said is pretty accurate. I'd be very surprised. I mean, I seen it with my own eyes, so maybe y'all feel different. You have a different experience.
But if you feel different, you have to have traveled.
Hey.
Don't come up in the spot being like, no, our shit is better, my bitch is better, my trip is better. When you haven't traveled. Okay, if you haven't traveled, if you haven't come up north, if you haven't traveled a bit around the world, stop. You're not even part of this conversation.
I go to America 4 to 5 times a year, and I travel all across. And I spend long periods of time out there. I love it out there, right? That's why people are like, yo, I don't hate it. I think it's amazing and it's all right. I wouldn't live there and want to raise my kid. That's me personally for different reasons. Save some of them I already listed before. Oh, another negative.
Oh,
America is a very diverse country, but it's super racially segregated.
Very.
When I was in Los Angeles, that's one of the most surprising things. Like, Mexicans stay with Mexicans.
Yep.
Blacks stay with blacks.
Asians with Asians.
And they do not mix. And I'm not talking about, like, they don't hang out. They literally live in sequestered areas where you do not see crossover 95% of the time. It was a really weird thing to understand, like, the racial demographics, statistically speaking, and be there and realize, like, oh, y'all live together, but y'all don't live together.
No.
And so that's probably another con that and I don't like that personally.
You don't like that?
Just because it feels like it breeds into animosity between the groups. I feel like here we intermingle a lot better than I see them over there. Yeah, because
our ghettos is just, oh, what is this? Ghettos? What kind of ghettos? Ghetto?
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's gonna be predominantly like one group, but there's gonna be other groups within that.
And it won't be weird to see them walking around.
Yeah, if we talk about Parkex, you got some Greeks over there, but you also got all the Pakistani and all the Indians and Sri Lanka and all that thing. You got that, but you got Greeks, you got Arabs, you got a little bit of...
And they all live the same age. Yeah. So that was a weird thing. This is not the case in every city in the States.
No.
But in some of the major cities, I noticed that was a thing pretty consistently. Yeah. So that was probably another con for me.
We don't serve your kind around here, boy.
Yeah, so... Yeah, that's pretty much it. You got anything else?
No.
All right, boom.